Welcome to Love and Speak the Truth with me, Sister Brenda, the podcast where all voices are heard with diverse guests from all over the globe. We make space for stories of integrity, justice, freedom, and joy. So come along. We're not afraid to get into the tough stuff, and we're actually not afraid to laugh along the way. So buckle up, open your heart, open your mind, and let's get this party started. Hot diggity, you are in for a real treat today. Shania Chanel Gentle lights up the airwaves as she joins us with her sparkle, her daring, and her growing power as a trans feminine diva, finding her voice and claiming her style. Chanel brings insight, beauty, and a fearless sense of self to a journey that can be baffling for some, but is ultimately about something deeply human, the courage to become who you are. She is a diva and a dame and a doggone beautiful person in the way she shares her story and her ideas. I'll admit, I may be just a little biased as I've loved her since babyhood, watching every little bit of swish and glamour and determination as she searches for and claims her truest self. So, welcome, cherished Chanel. Let's get busy sharing the real you. Chanel, it is so good to see you. I am so excited that you're here with me today. You are my favorite niece, and I would like everybody to get to know you. Welcome to Love and Speak the Truth. Come on, let's get it on.
Hello, everyone, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so very much. You're my favorite aunt.
Yes. Well, let's just start by sharing a little bit about yourself, where you are in your life right now.
So I don't even know where to start. I am celebrating this year my 10th anniversary of my 28th birthday. That's my funny way of saying that I am 38. I guess I should just settle into that. Right now, I am a full-time bus operator for the CTA, Chicago Transit Authorities. I love interacting with people, so that makes that job nice. But outside of that, I am a licensed hairstylist, a entrepreneur. I have my fashion design degree. I am over the top, outgoing. Anyone who knows me, I will make you laugh. I have great stories, great jokes, sometimes could be a character. And I think I have grown to love all of these things about myself. So that's a little bit about me to the world that doesn't know me.
Where'd you get your confidence? I remember a long time ago when you were in grammar school and you were having a hard time and you called your parents into the principal's office. I don't remember exactly how that went, but there was something about you that said, "There's nobody that's going to get into my way to becoming who I want to become." Where did you get that courage and that confidence?
For a while, I would say I struggled with that. For myself, I think that I had a very sheltered upbringing. Both of my parents coming from deeply rooted Christian backgrounds and just our culture. So proud of our culture and how it's grown, but I think like that had a lot to do with my upbringing. And so I was very sheltered. And starting out in second grade, I was getting teased and picked on and didn't really know who I was. So that hit my self esteem in a way where I didn't have a lot of confidence. I had a low self esteem. I didn't even find myself to be beautiful and pretty and all of these things that I find now. However, one day when I realized who I was, or opening my eyes to who I can become, I think it made me confident. And that's when I went to school and I said, "Oh, not today. You're not going to bully me." And I flipped everything on their head. And I think that I carried that going forward. And so I felt like a superpower in just being who you are and living in your truth. So I think that's where my confidence comes from.
That started all the way back in grammar school?
It did. Took a while to grow to be as strong as it is now. But it started in grammar school. It
Mhm.
did. I think 5th grade, 6th grade, that's when I really started, as we say in the Black community, feeling myself. And it just took off from there. I being in plays and going to perform in art schools, that all helped because I've always had a supportive family, no matter how crazy the idea or outrageous my costume or outfit or dramatics were. They've always been supportive, they've always shown up. And that builds onto the confidence as well, knowing that you have a strong support system that no matter the ups, the downs, the trials, the fails, they are right there beside you, rooting you on and picking you up and lifting you when you need to be. So,
Yeah, well, I think that the thing that inspires me about your confidence and I hear you saying that you have your mom and dad who supported you along the way with their own struggles themselves. You
mhm,
also had, a strong community outside that. And I
mhm,
remember when you started to go to the gala and you would come every year to help the sisters. I felt proud that you were always willing to serve. I think
mhm.
service was, for me, a big part of your ability to see where your talents were and are, and maybe share a little bit about growing up in a place where you could create your own reality, your own meaning through serving other people. And I see that's been happening for a long time, you
Yes,
know?
I really appreciate all of the sisters that I met. I think everyone knew that I was special. That's what we used to call it, special. And within being special, everybody had this way of making me feel welcome, giving me space to breathe and grow and be myself and express my creativity however I need to, whether that be, like you said, through the acts of services or my crazy style or just my art, whatever medium it is. That's played a part because it shows that that's one of my superpowers is acts of service, being able to love others for who they are because I've been loved for who I am. And that's
Sure.
in itself is an act of service.
Have you experienced in your growing up in your adult years as you've moved into even more becoming who you are meant to be? Have you experienced any like discrimination, disappointment? Maybe share a little bit about the struggle of becoming Chanel.
Oh, we have to go back and we have to understand, I was forced to come out, to my parents as being a young gay youth. I struggled with that for a while because it didn't really fit the narrative of what I wanted for my life. I always knew, and I used to pray to God and hope that one day I would wake up a woman. And every day I'd wake up and run to the mirror and didn't see what I wanted to see. That played a big part in how I interacted with the world around me. We all know that we face some type of discrimination, no matter who you are on this planet. I think my discrimination more so becomes a factor because there's a stigma around not only being trans or gay or Black or African American trans or gay person. But it also comes with this stigma of how you are treated throughout everyday life. I work with the public, always have, always will. That's that serving that I was just talking about. After my transition and becoming who I was, I got my first job as a now trans woman. And I went into this job I realized the type of discrimination, not only am I going to go forward in my now new chosen pronoun as a transgendered woman or even as a woman, I now have all of the other discrimination that I face by people thinking or over sexualizing trans people. And I
Mhm.
don't think that that's talked about a lot when it comes to trans people that do live everyday lives. going out and working and having to mingle with the public, it's not only the discrimination of being misgendered, but it's also the discrimination of everything that any other real biological cisgendered women go through. So that's my little spiel on discrimination. I've overcome it because every time I move into a workspace, I have the power to make it into be what it needs to be for me. I
Mhm.
go into every situation with this confidence. I've now found out that arrogance is a superpower as well. And sometimes you have to take up the space in the room to insert your respect and your dominance. If not,
Mm.
people will step over you. And I've realized that any space that I come into, I kind of change the culture around me. And I say that as easy as I learned very much from my mother from a young age what it was to be ladylike, classy, respectful of oneself. And the way that she carries herself is how very much so I carry myself, especially when it comes to being professional. And with that being said, I've found a way to make everyone else want to be like me. I come and I present myself in a professional way. My hair's always done, my makeup's always done, my nails are always done. You could give me a uniform and I'm going to wear it better than anyone else there. And a lot of people don't understand that that's a part of the gender dysphoria. I can't even go out the house looking crazy because I'm always constantly thinking of the judgment or the discrimination that I have to face throughout everyday life.
I want to ask a little bit about that in terms of I know your presentation, what you're saying might seem to others as superficial. You have to look good. But what I know about you is that you're kind, you're
Mhm,
generous, you're thoughtful,
mhm.
all the internal things that people can't see. The things that people can't see in you or in me, those are the real things, isn't it? The things underneath the facade of what we look like.
Exactly.
And I'm glad you mentored your mom because she is authentically a genuinely good, thoughtful, kind, generous person.
Yes, she is.
Mhm. She comes with a good name, Grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last name Gentle, and that's what it is. It is a gentle, loving mother touch, a gentle warmth when you're in her presence. Anyone who has ever met her only has good things to say because she comes from this place of grace where she's just her name, like she's loving, kind, caring, compassionate,
Just
thoughtful,
like you.
empathetic. And
Just
I
like
get a
you.
lot. Yes, I get a lot of myself from her now. My dad, I definitely am, as I'm getting older, picking up on a lot of his traits as well. Strong minded, sometimes stubborn, but stubborn's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you have to stand your ground. You have to
Mhm.
know your limits and your boundaries. But still, he does all of these things with a type of class and gentleman-esque air to his movement. And so I'm so happy to say that I have the balance of both. My father has also showed me what it is like to be a man and to love your family and support your family, and I can honestly say I got all of that honestly from him too. So my mom is the gentle side of the grace, and my dad is the backbone to why I stand tall because I know that I have been shown what a strong man is like, so I love it.
I understand that, and I really relate to what you're saying. You need good role models in your life
Role
in
models.
order to help you to form your own way and your own purpose. What would you say to your younger self, knowing what
Ooh.
you know now about who you are and who you're becoming as a trans woman, and beyond that, as a child of God?
Mm. Patience. That would be the first thing. Exercise patience, walk at your time, move at your pace. Don't let the world around you dictate how fast you should be navigating through it. I would say still follow your heart and follow all different types of religions because something might speak unto you. It's okay to be faith-based and spiritual. You don't always have to go with a religion. Know that your parents have set out a good foundation for you in your belief system. If you have that strong foundation going forward, you won't stumble off of the path of righteousness or trying to be on the righteous side of things.
Amen to that, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
And if you could ask the God who is within each one of us, I don't think God
Mhm,
is up in
mhm.
the sky so much as I think God is right here with us, between us in our conversation here. If you could ask anything of the divine, what would you ask? What would you say is important for us as human beings to be able to share with one another? That's a word of God.
It couldn't be just one word, I will give you 3. Love,
Wonderful.
compassion, and empathy. I think that that's the question, can you give us more of? I think everything would flow a little bit easier. We would be able to see each other's point of view and come with a sense of understanding and acceptance, regardless of if that's our life or not.
All of
Compassion
that
and
is
empathy.
woven into one, really, isn't it? Hmm? It's a sense of being conscious of the divine within each one of us, isn't it?
Yes.
And in your way of seeing, what would be your purpose in living out this whole idea of being a loving being, being a compassionate person that you are, and being empathetic with the people you've been given to care for in your life?
I have come to the realization that that is my purpose. I was placed here to be that light in somebody's darkness, in somebody's world. Like I said, I enter the room with a sense of grace and gentleness, and then I light it up, and it's hard for you not to be around me and not
Yeah.
like me or want to know more about me or look across the room and say, "Who is that? Who do they think they are?" And that in itself is exactly how, if God were to come down and embody themselves as a person, how they would move throughout every space that they're in. Somebody wanting to know, who is that? Why do they make me feel better about myself? Why is it when I look at them, I want to smile? And so I think that that is something that I'm harnessing more and working on myself and thanking God every day that I wake up that today He makes me better and uses me in the way that I will be of service to someone else and enlightening their day.
Would you like to ask me anything? I always felt a great desire to support you, and you've been always very supportive of me in your own way. And so it's a mutual kind of respect for the space that we share, isn't it?
Yes.
Um,
I think if I had one question, I know that from a young age you knew that I was different and was probably not like the rest. When you saw that, if you had to give any other aunts out there or any other family members out there a piece of advice of how to nurture somebody like myself, what would that be? What would that look like for you?
exactly what you said: love, compassion, empathy. And it certainly wasn't hard for me to do with you because you've been always such a loving kid and ahead of your time. You, even when you were, well, 4 years old, you were dominating the room. I remember calling you a little fruitcake, and people say, "Don't say that. Don't say that. That's derogatory." I said, "No, that's not derogatory. That's loving. That's my little fruitcake, and I love fruitcake." You were not difficult to love. I think what I would say to a person who had a person in their family, I would say you just love that person like anybody else. You know, who is to judge who a person should love, right?
Right.
Or how they should behave. I think if we respect one another as a child of God, a light,
Mhm.
just as you said, your light makes everything brighter. What happens when we put our lights together? We no longer have to walk in darkness.
Exactly.
We can give each other something. So it wasn't difficult for me to be your aunt. It wasn't difficult for me to be a religious person and know that Jesus loves you abundantly,
Mhm.
the same way I'm loved as well. And I would say that to anyone else. There's not a place anywhere where Jesus or God and the Creator ever said, don't love somebody.
Exactly.
Never. So we're meant to love ourselves, and the only way we can love other people well if we love ourselves well
Exactly.
and we love God. In terms of what you would like to share for the people who would not be familiar or have any experience with a transgendered person, I think that one of the things I learned a lot because I asked you
And
questions,
that's all you
you
have to
know?
do sometimes.
Yes, and not ask with judgment,
Mhm.
but ask with loving patience to learn and to be
And
open,
to
not to judge.
understand, I think that that's the bigger thing is you might not know what it is, you might not know how it is, but to go into everything with, "I want to understand you." Doesn't matter the topic, it's just about the understanding of something outside of yourself, and so I would tell anyone who meets a trans individual, put your judgment aside and talk with us. We are human. I think we get lost in the whole
Mhm.
debacle of is it right? Is it wrong? Really take the time out to set aside judgment, set aside your own belief system or what you were told about your belief system. Go into it with the idea of understanding. I want to understand you. I want to understand how and where you come from. And it's crazy, just a little story. In my younger years, I used to attend the Pride Parade. My first interaction with Pride in itself was by this beautiful woman right here. She took me to this event in Oak Park with one of my friends, and it was allowing a space for the youth to gather, not so much in the craziness of what Pride brings. It was more of a nice little park gathering, little barbecue, some music out at a little park, allowing me once again to be myself and just realizing that everyone's human. Everybody is going through something. I think the more and more I drive around this big, beautiful city of Chicago, I realize how everyone is going through something. We're all a spiritual being living a human experience and lending
Yes,
a hand
yes.
to helping somebody get to where they need to be, whether it's as simple as stopping and taking 5 seconds to give directions. There's so many different ways that we can be the light in each other's life. I would say that we need to realize that everyone's human. And
Mhm,
if you meet someone like me, ask as many questions respectfully. If you don't know if it's going to be disrespectful, that's the oldest saying in the book. Start out with saying, I don't mean to disrespect you, because you know the next thing out your mouth is going to probably be very disrespectful, but you don't mean harm in it. Um,
mhm,
and figure it out. If they're a person like myself, I'll tell you, "Hey, that's a little personal there. Back up. Out my space. Back back. Hold on now." Um, and then that also invites everyone to be an open book because your story can help someone else. Be truthful.
mhm,
Live in your truth. Tell as many stories.
mhm.
That's something that we're doing now in the family where we're trying to learn as much as we can about where our family comes from, what they went through. It's not so that we're just trying to figure out our history. It's because we want to learn vicariously through any experiences that they had, whether it was good, bad, negative, ups, downs, so that way we don't repeat the cycle or have to go through it directly ourselves.
Yes, it's amazing the way we learn from each other is by sharing our vulnerabilities.
Yes.
It's by asking, as you said, respectful questions.
Mm,
It's about sharing our humanity, isn't
it
it?
is.
We're all a little bit broken pieces. Nobody's perfect, and we begin to search out for ways. It's when we take our brokenness and project them onto others, that's when it becomes a problem.
That's why there's not a lot of successful relationships is because people aren't willing to break down the facade of not having it all together. Everyone's trying to live a storyline or fulfill what they believe is supposed to happen or that they're supposed to be doing at whatever age and stage that they are in their life. And I think if we just live in the
Mhm.
moment and trust God that He wouldn't have brought us to something. Quick little story about how I came to that conclusion. I'm at the
Ooh.
DMV getting my CDL paperwork done, your commercial's driver's license.
Mm,
So I'm at
mm,
the DMV working on that. There's this African American lady who is giving me all this attitude, all of this fluff, and I get that a lot. She's like, "Oh, no, you didn't fill out this paper." For years, I've had my name changed. For years, my gender marker has been changed. And so
mm,
I already had it for years on my ID that I'm trans. I'm female now on all of my documentation. So she's like, "Oh no, you need because you had to have your birth certificate." And my birth certificate at the time was the only one that had my old name on it. I didn't get it changed over. She's like, "No, you have to fill out this other piece of paper." Everybody else was letting it go through. She just had to be the one to raise her hand and be a pick me, which is fine. She sends me back to the end of the line, have to go back to the first cashier. This lady, she's like, "Oh, I didn't know this before." You know what? People are evil in the world. I have a nephew and now it's a niece. And I told her one day, if God led you to it, there must be
mm,
nothing wrong in it. So be you, love,
mm,
okay? Here you go. She didn't even really do anything. She stamped it, did it, and sent me on down the way. And that just goes
mm,
to tell you one of two things. There's always a good person and a bad person out here. Always someone that's
mm.
looking to smite your light or dim it just a little bit. And there's always going to
Yeah.
be someone right there, a little guardian angel that's coaching you on or egging you on, saying, "You got this. You're okay. You're loved." And using God
Mm,
to follow up with it to make sure that you know that it's not just me saying it. God's sending the love through me.
mhm.
Let's get it done, honey. You're not going to have to deal with this for much longer. And so that's always stuck with me. And I preach that to people, you know. And I've always just realized that you have to speak in goodness into people. You never know what those
Mm,
small little words, and I felt defeated that day, and after I talked to that lady and I finally got my permit, finally went out in the car, I cried. I cried because
mhm,
that that meant so much to me hearing somebody else say something that I didn't even think about. If God
mm,
led you to it, it must be
mm.
for you, and I remember praying day and night, waking up miserable, especially in my teenage years. If you wonder why I had such an attitude back then, every morning I had to wake up and not be the person that I wanted to be.
I can't imagine that really. It must be a struggle that to overcome, there has to be light poured in somehow.
And
Yeah.
honestly, it's not overcoming. Every day is a struggle. There's some days
Uh,
that I need to go into the gas station to get gas. And I'll sit in that
mhm,
car and I'll wait until every car has left. I don't care if it's 30 minutes that I'm sitting there, 40 minutes
mm.
that I'm sitting there. And once I see that it's cleared out, I'll go run in. That was me.
Because you are afraid other people might say something, do something?
Say
What
something, do something. As I get older, I'm getting more like my dad. He tends to just not wanna be bothered with people, and I really am picking up on that. I am comfortable being in my house, alone, laying in my bed, watching TV, doing me, and I think some of it stems from that, but I've talked to other trans people that say the same thing. It's a part of the gender dysphoria. If you're not presenting the way that you are, that's why I refuse to go out the house without looking the way that I want to, because it creates a barrier to interacting with the world around you. You're always
mm,
anticipating the judgment, anticipating something's going to happen. So I've come into this I don't care attitude. And now that I have come into this I don't care attitude, I'm taking up space in rooms. I'm moving with a certain elegance and in a scope to where if you're not right in front of my face, I don't see you. Because if I don't see you, I don't notice you talking about me. I don't notice you pointing me out. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. God knows, Lord Jesus, you're working on me every day, God. Amen for that. I am not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm.
stand in your truth and no one can move you once you do. You have to wake up every morning. I promise you I do this. I pray. And I'm like
Mm.
talking myself through the day. And then I have to put on my armor. And my armor is all of my hair has to be perfect. Everything has to be in a place so I can go and
Mm.
conquer the day. Because every day
Mhm.
is a day to be conquered. There's going to be some type of obstacle, someone to distract you from what your real purpose here and what you're supposed to be doing, right? And
Mhm.
so you have to mentally prepare yourself for the battle of every day. And then in doing that, that's going to help you move more gracefully throughout it. And once you move
Mhm.
like that throughout space, you're not worried about anybody else. Now I'm
Mhm.
taking up the space that is meant for me. I'm not hiding from anyone. At this point, I consider myself trans feminine because I really have found out for myself, women deserve a grace and space. They're the only living being that brings souls and spirits into this realm, into this physical world.
Okay now.
Okay. So
Okay now. Preach it.
they are reserved a certain type of respect and vulnerability and essence of their own. I don't want mean to impede on anybody. I'm not trying to appease women in any mean or any sort. I just that's what I've really deep down and believed.
That idea of trans feminine is more accurate to you than saying trans woman.
Yes. And for so long, we were
Yeah.
always referred to as transgender, transsexual, transvestite, are kind of derogatory because you're going straight for what our sex is. And that has nothing to
Mhm.
do, that's not synonymous with who you are as a person. There's a lot of trans
Mhm.
people out here in the world who switch their gender but still like the opposite of what they were born. So that doesn't make them a part of the hegemony of being trans, the normalize of what trans is, or what people perceive to be it. That is the reason of why you transition. Let me make that clear. Some
Mhm.
others, they are like myself, where I wanted to have the house, the car, the dog, the family, the husband, all of that. Others want that just in a different aspect, and I believe everyone's here to love and will find that love however it's meant for them, you know?
We could carry on this conversation. I love to hear the way you express yourself, the way your confidence comes out. I feel really, really proud of you for that. But we're all here for love, is what you just said. We're
Yes.
all here for love. This is something I believe, and if in fact grace, as we talked about throughout, in terms of your mom's name, but in terms of the gift that we are that's been given to us. Grace is life itself. The gift of life is to love. In terms of your purpose, I would like to ask you the question we ask each person before we finish our talk. What's love got to do with all this? I think you've already defined it, but let me just ask you clearly. What does love have to do?
Love is patient, love is kind, love is madness, happiness, and sometimes blind. Love is what you make it. Love is peace. But remember, most of all, what love means to me. Love is everything.
Well, that's beautifully said, my dear. And I'm so glad that you were able to come and share a bit of your dynamic self.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here.
Thank you. And now for the wrap up. You have just had a human experience from a spiritual being. We have so much to learn. So go forth to love and speak the truth. Ad majorem Dei gloriam. A couple of announcements. Don't forget to rate and follow us on Apple Podcast or Spotify. We are on Facebook at Love Speak Truth, and visit our website at www.lovespeaktruth.org. For a few credits, when all is said and done, I give thanks and credit for sponsors, producers, and contributors who made this podcast possible. Mega shout out to IBVM Region Leadership, Megan Butel, Jennifer Schmitz, Laurenti Wright for the keyboard music, the late Sister Maria Beer IBVM for her composition of the music Women Bearing Witness. It takes a village, folks. Thanks for listening to Love, Speak, Truth.